One very interesting thing about the frequency is that how frequent is something really frequent? You know, do you think TB, tuberculosis, is a frequent disease in Rio? How many people you know who had a cold last year? All of you, right? Probably you had it yourselves. That's frequent. So the thing is, tuberculosis is a public health calamity in Rio de Janeiro. We have an incidence that is over the roof if we compare to other places that have tuberculosis under control. So we have an incidence of tuberculosis that's about 90 per 100,000 inhabitants. And if you compare with international numbers, for instance, that's very high. But that doesn't mean that it is really a frequent or a very common disease. If you think about it, say I would like to design a study to compare some risk factor, okay, for the development of TB in Rio, okay? So if I just sample people without knowing anything about them, I told you that the incidence is about 90 per 100,000 inhabitants, which is very high. But how many people would I have to follow up for a year to get 90 cases of TB? To compare like 45 cases in one group and 45 cases in the other group. 100,000. Because that's the incidence. It's 90 per 100,000 per year. So I could follow 50,000 for a couple of years. I wouldn't have the same result. But that's too much people, isn't it? If I had to compare some exposure to see if tuberculosis happens in these two groups, I'll be in trouble. Don't you think so? Imagine how much money I would spend to follow up 50,000 people for 2 years. So this is just so that you understand that when we say that something has a high frequency, or it's over the roof, or it's a very, very high prevalence or anything like that, or especially that something is X times more risk than the other thing that you're talking about. For instance, and I'm going to give this example that shocks people, but it's true. Smoking, people who smoke has about 30 times, not 30%, 30 times more chance to have lung cancer than people who don't smoke. Okay, so this is a huge association. But in fact, the incidence of lung cancer is not that high. Many people think that it's a public health calamity, that lung cancer, it's not. Smoking is bad for many other reasons. It's because not only lung cancer, it causes like 100 different kinds of cancers and causes COPD, right? That's it's not only cancer that's the problem, also it's associated with cardiovascular diseases and many, many other problems. But if you look at lung cancer alone, which was the main one, the first one that Dahl and Hill showed that huge odds ratio when they made their study. If you look at the incidence itself, it's not that high. As a matter of fact, lung cancer is a rare disease. Right? So we always have to look at these numbers in a very relative way. You have to really know what you're talking about, really know your numbers, okay?